In business, we're continually trying to convey our message, whether they're facts, opinions, or just anecdotal wisdoms to an audience. It is our job to make sure that the audience not only understands what we're trying to tell them, but also is able to retain it and then recall it at a future date when it becomes useful. Well, we can use words, and words are okay. They imprint on the brain a certain way. But we all know that if we added some sort of a graphic, call it an image or anything you like, an infographic, that it imprints a little bit deeper into the brain for better recollection. And in fact, I think it enhances the understanding of the material. The tool we're about to look at is one of many, but I like this one. It's called Napkin.AI, and it does use generative artificial intelligence to take ideas that you came up with, in fact, and then generate certain graphics that are, in most cases, applicable to what it is you're trying to convey. So let's have a quick look. So when you first go to Napkin.AI on a browser, and I'm using Firefox as a browser, you'll click Get Napkin Free and just use any email. And it's quite good because they don't really harass you or bombard you with a lot of sales pitch emails. It's pretty straightforward. I should tell you there is a paid subscription that opens up a whole lot of different visuals and different capability, but the free plan is perfectly good for you for right now. So I've already created an account. I'm going to sign in. And depending on where you're at on the screen, you might see the new napkin button at the top, and I'll show you where all your work will be stored later on. So I'm going to click New Napkin, and it's going to ask me for a blank napkin. We'll look at Draft with AI later, but let's go to Blank Napkin. And it simply gives you a notepad page. And what you can do is just start with the title, and I'll say something like My Products. And then you're going to start generating a list. So the idea as a graphic is based on some sort of a list, but it can also be based on a sentence or an idea. And you have to always carefully look at the results. So simple list, I want to tell people or talk to people about my different products that I sell. I've got my list here. It doesn't have to be bulleted. And I'm going to click the little lightning bolt on the left. Okay, so it's going to generate. Just be patient. It's thinking, it's optimizing, it's doing what it needs to do. And it comes up with something it thinks you might like. Now, you might not like it. For example, I don't like that little face. I don't know what it means. It says personal care. Well, I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. And you can change the color schemes as well. But I like this. Now, take a look. On the left, you've got different variations of the same visual. So depending on what your audience might react to or what you might want or your personal style, you would pick some. And there's some pretty cool ones out here. And I'm just going to scroll down a bit. I mean, this is pretty good in terms of brain. I kind of like this one. It's pretty good. So I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to click on it. And when you click on it, you get sub variations of it in terms of color palettes, different shades of colors, maybe deepness of colors. And you can always customize that as well. So I'll go with this purple one. I'll click it. And there we go. You got a generated AI visual. So what I do warn is that when you have a list that's quite large, let's say you have 10, 15 items, what Napkin will do is it'll consolidate some of these, so you might not see 10, 15 items here, and you just have to double check, okay? So you can always move around with those. And I gave it a title called Product Categories Overview. I can always double click on the title, change it around. I could change the font of these things. Notice the button up here, I could change the color. For example, I could go with this one just to say that that's the biggest seller. Now, when you're ready to use this napkin, what you do is just click on it. And if it doesn't let you, just start over on this side, highlight everything, and click this down arrow, the download arrow. And you can either copy it to a clipboard to paste it into Word or PowerPoint or even Excel, or you can download it. Okay, and it's going to be in the PNG format. You can also do PDF or SVG, and you can play with some of these features here. Okay, so let's download. It actually saves the file. Napkin selection, that's what they call it. You can rename it, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it into my clipboard. And now I could paste it anywhere I like. Now along the way, let's say you didn't like this visual here, hospital supplies, right? You can always click on it, right? You can move it around. You can do whatever you like with it, but I want to replace it. So you can click this button and it'll give you automatic choices based on what it found to be suitable. Or you can go down here and spark search. So I'll spark search and I'll call this prescription here. And it'll come up with something that looks like prescription. Okay, so it gives you a bunch of choices. And I'll go with maybe drugs pill. There we go. And I could put that spark in here. And again, you can always change the colors, etc. So let's get rid of this one. Now, here's what else we can do. Okay, so I've done this, I've copied it, I'm using it. Awesome, great. Now, if I click on new napkin, it will allow me to do a brand new napkin. Okay, but this time I'm going to go with draft with AI. And this is general AI. It's like ChatGPT, or it's like a Copilot, where you can say, I want a graphic about countries of North America. And let's continue, see what it does. And you have to be very careful. You don't know what the source of this information is. The Gen AI thinks it's conclusive. You can copy paste this and say, this is my full report, but that's not what learning is all about. Because if you let it do its work, you're not actually learning. You don't know that the capital of US is Washington, D.C. And you don't know if these facts are old or new. So I highly recommend, if you do this, that you double check all of the material and add to it yourself. Quite possibly even paraphrase it, meaning reword it. Now here's the cool thing. If, let's say here, I wanted to put in some sort of a graphic, I just click there. You can click anywhere on any sentence, any list, and generate something. And it's going to insert it right inside your, in this case, paper. Let's have a look. And it came up with something, right? Not bad. I mean, I might want something like this, and click on it. And you can change the size. You can move it around. So now you're curating, you're creating a report based on what your particular need is. And you have to fiddle with the size of the font and so on. But again, the warning is, please don't use this as the absolute of every piece of knowledge that anybody could ever find. You really need to put your own time into this, okay? To double check the facts and so on. Now, if I go to the top left and click library, this is where all of my visuals will be. And I don't know if there's a limit. I'm certain you can do hundreds and hundreds of these, okay? But the general idea is, once you copy and paste this into your actual report, you're good to go. So that's a nice introduction to Napkin.AI. Have a look, experiment, try it. There's a few features, of course, that are more in advanced territory that I think you should explore. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully you're going to use Napkin.AI.